One story told different ways.
My story, the African American story.
Gwendolyn Briley-Strand lives African American history.
All they know is we were brought here as slaves, and then they freed us, and now we got a black president, and it's all better. But they have to know the full story, the pain. Sweet chariot.
Briley-Strand transformed herself into Harriet Tubman for her one-woman show.
But my career as a historian, I started in Prince George County when I wrote the piece about Harriet Tubman.
Her journey as a performer has led her to visit and perform at African American museums across the state.
To leave a performance with, and I always ask my audience, do you know more after I've been here than before I came? And as long as I see hundreds of hands go up, then I feel like I've done my job.
But the opening of the National African American Museum is creating a challenge for Maryland's own museums.
African American history, of course, doesn't just live and die at the National Museum, but there's lots of opportunities local, right down the street, around the corner, almost in everyone's backyard.
We have to not neglect the smaller museums, and we have to go to them because they're little gems all over the state.
There are more than a dozen African American museums in Maryland. They include the Harriet Tubman Museum and Educational Center in Cambridge, the Oakley Cabin African American Museum and Park in Montgomery County, the Banneker Douglas Museum in Annapolis, and the Reginald F. Lewis Museum in Baltimore.
We were terrorized as African Americans in this country. And it wasn't from the others over there, it was from our own American people. So if we understand, and you find that in these museums.
Maryland's African American museums tell a very personal story. Just ask former Maryland State Delegate Kiefer Mitchell, now working for Governor Hogan. Mitchell's family is renowned for its involvement in the local and national battles for civil rights. Mitchell recently visited the Sons exhibit at Baltimore's Lewis Museum.
This is a very proud moment. It's my son is 14 years old. He's an 8th grader, so he's coming up through those formative years, trying to learn about who he is.
And Mitchell wasn't alone.
I actually get to see myself in the museum with some of my heroes, Malcolm X and Reginald F. Lewis and other great scholars.
Juan Nance is a teacher who thinks there's great benefit from the experience offered by Maryland's museums.
Because I believe smaller museums specialize in the African American story more on an intimate level.
These museums may even surprise you.
Little gems like this, little museums like this, it's like just a snapshot of time.
It's a pebble with a big ripple effect.
For once, just feel what we feel, see what we see, and try and understand.
In Baltimore, Rachel McNair, CNS TV.